Hello everybody, welcome back to the new video here. We are doing reworks of League of Legends champions. In today's video, we're doing one of the originals, the Barbarian King Tryndamere. He has not been reworked, and I think it's time for him to be updated to modern League of Legends. And I think a lot of people will like these changes I come up with, so let's get into it. The role is a fighter, and he's medium difficulty. He primarily is a top laner, sometimes mid laner, and occasionally can be in the jungle. We're going to come over here to his abilities. His passive increases with crit as his fury goes up. Two of his abilities, the Bloodlust and the Spinning Slash here, will have AP, which is ability power on them. I removed those on my build, so you'll see that big difference. But going back to the abilities, right here, this is his heal. The lower his health is, the more he'll heal. So he uses that primarily after he uses his ult. So when he gets away, he can heal back up. Mocking Shout slows people if their back is turned to them up to 60% and also reduces their attack damage quite a bit. Spinning Slash is his gap closer, also deals damage, and every time he crits on a champion, it'll reduce that by 1.5 seconds. If he crits on a minion or a monster, it will reduce that by 0.75 seconds. Last but not least is the Undying Rage, which is his ultimate. He can't die as long as it's running unless he goes into the enemy fountain, which he will die. So why do we want to do reworks to this character? Why is he so focused on my first video? And that is primarily because he's just outdated. And I've seen things that if he ever is good, then he usually gets nerfed because they view him as too overpowered. And when I say they, I'm talking about the people at Riot. They believe he'll be too powerful. And I say, you know what? I think your mindset's out of date. Let me update you too. So we're going to come here to our first of two reworks that I have updated. So in the current patch, it's 40%. I have 50%, and that is because in the next patch, it's still in data mine mode. It says it's going to be buffed to 50%, primary because the new changes to the ADC items and buffing everything by 5%. So then it becomes a 25% instead of the 20% on the items. So they are changing this, and it goes for other characters like Yone and Yasuo. They're also getting changes to their passes too. The big change here for this build here, and one thing I'll say about both of these is that both the Q and the ultimate sync together. They will functionally work together, and that's why you will see the big difference between the two. I took the idea from my current champion, Tom Kench, of Gray Health turned to a shield, and I thought this would be a good use for Tryndamere, but instead of increasing that Gray Health with the bubble as he takes damage, he gains it through dealing damage. Then he activates it for 2.5 seconds. The shield will last, and then when it goes away, if there's any left over, he will heal for that amount. As you can see here, here's the ratios. Everything will be based off of this as you level it up. And big takeaway here is you don't gain any additional attack damage, but you gain this more protective shielding mechanic that's also your healing mechanic. So getting rid of some of that built-in steroid, but giving you survivability, helping with lane phases and other changes. Mocking Shout is now a change to a Shen style dash, but without pulling everyone to you in terms of taunting everyone across. You only taunt the person closest to you when you come to the end of the dash, in which then you also increase your damage. And the idea is this: Tryndamere should be able to auto attack the person who he's trying to kill so that he can help out his team mechanically. And of course, if he doesn't hit anyone, it is a 700 range, 12-second area. There is one thing I want to scroll back up here and say Blood Lost and this new ability, Cleave and Slash, cost 10 Fury to use. So if you don't have any Fury on Tryndamere, you won't be able to use these abilities. I wanted to bring in that mindset back that Riot was talking about a long time ago. You know, when they do reworks, they want to add pros, but they also want to have like a little negativity. In this case, you're giving up a little bit of crit to use your ability. Don't have any Fury, you won't be able to use the ability. But I, of course, kept it off of the dash mechanic. This way you can still use the dash mechanic to lead the fountain and go places, so you don't want to slow down people for that. However, the Cleaving Slash does not have a dash mechanic no more. Instead, it's like Renekton. It spins around in circles, and anything in that circle or lane range gets hit for the amount of damage here. This is the current value for bonus AD, so nothing's changed, just there's no AP to it. However, I also made it so that it does a Cleave and Slash, results in an auto attack reset. Lots of heroes have this in their abilities. My biggest pick is Meditate on Master Yi. When he uses Meditate, he can immediately auto attack off of it. So I feel like the champion that's built around auto attack should have a auto attack reset. In current live version, to my knowledge, he does not. Moving down here to the final part here, the Demonic Rage. This is the big change. Instead of Tryndamere ignoring death, Tryndamere just ignores damage, and that lasts for 5 seconds. Nothing changed in terms of how you deal with the Tryndamere in this case. The change occurs with the Tryndamere player, because now he can use this anytime, not just at the lowest part of his health. He can use it when he's at full health. He can use it when he engages, so that he can soak damage and then attack. Now this has a lot of potential, but it only works if the other team doesn't have CC. You still can get stunned. You can still be, slowed. You can everything that happens to Tryndamere still happens. It just depends on what it is. But notice, coming back here to the Q, you can have a huge shield because you're not taking damage, and you can build that gray health, pop that shield, and now you're lasting longer in the team fights. And I think that's what I wanted to address. Besides the ability to get onto his target and stick to them, he needed to be able to survive his encounters, because a lot of champions do a lot of damage, and I wanted to fix a little bit of the issues with Tryndamere, where he's an all-in, he soaks everything, but then he literally has to back out, and that's because he doesn't die, but at the same time he kind of just takes everyone's focus. And I think this build here fixes a lot of his kit. Switching to the second one we got here is the original design with some minor reworks. These are what people would like if they like the current champion, would like some quality of life. Nothing changes for passive except for the change here, the 50%. Only change on Bloodlust is now there's 20% AD instead of AP on here. So it'll, as you get more AD items, especially with the changes, this will actually help you heal, especially in lane. So I see that as a beneficial. Fearful Battle Cry is the new ability for his W, where I kept the attack damage, kept the area effect. However, the only difference is instead of slowing when your back is turned, you are rooted in place. You can still attack, you can still use ability power, you just don't move anywhere. So it's not a stun mechanic, it's a root mechanic. Spinning Slash has been changed, so it's been lowered from 700 range to 550, which is about the attack range of Caitlyn. So he can spin into people. The bonus AD has been reduced from 130% to 100, and there's no AP added to it. The big difference here is that if it hits a champion, then it resets the cooldown. You have 4 seconds to use it again, and then you can spin off to anybody. There is no auto reset for this, but it does allow him to spin to a second person before it goes on its full cooldown. So in this case, what I want to make clarification is, say it's at 12 seconds, you spin into the person, it resets the cooldown, but it resets it back to the 12 seconds. Same thing at the 8 seconds, it resets it back to the original. So you can't just use it, wait 4 seconds while the thing, then spin again. No, it's not gonna. It just stays on cooldown until both uses are done. Undying Rage. All I did was take what Riot's already done. Sorry, I almost said Blizzard, but this is Riot's game. So Riot has a mobile version called Wild Rift, and this is basically his ultimate. Same thing as the live version, with one exception. He has 50, 60, and 75% attack speed. There's nothing groundbreaking, but it benefits with the Q more, because now his ultimate has value. So in my other version, my first one, a lot of Tryndameres don't take your ultimate after you get it the first time because you don't gain any value. So you still get the same effect as the current Tryndamere, where you'll just take the level 17, 18 on your ult. But now this version, when level 11 comes, you're going to gain 15% more attack speed. So there's some benefits to actually taking this. And I think that's what I want to address in this version. And that's what I have here for you all. So hopefully you guys like these changes. Hopefully we can get some changes done for Tryndamere. And like always, if you like these type of videos, hit that like on the for the YouTube algorithm. And of course, subscribe for more videos. And I'll see you next time.